Question asked, is it safe to dry fire my 1911? Of course it is. As a matter of fact, if you think about it, historically, the 1911 is probably the most dry fired gun in history. I think eventually Glock will catch up to that, but right now, considering, the 1911 has about a 60-year head start on the Glock, I think it's fair to assume that these guns are dry fired more than any other gun. However, you need to be, I have some recommendations for you. These are well known, but if you're not really that into the 1911 or new to the 1911, you may not know some of this stuff. So, work your action, dry fire your gun. Things like, obviously you can dry fire the gun, work the action like this. Some people are of the opinion that you don't get the same trigger pull if you dry fire like this and then cock the hammer. Some people are of the opinion you don't get the same trigger pull doing this as if you do this way. And I think that's probably splitting hairs, but you should check your gun and see if that makes a difference. So, you can come up, dry fire your gun and do all that kind of stuff. Now, the next question is snap caps. And I think snap caps are really a must for 1911s if you want to do magazine work. Let me explain. 1911s are obviously hand-fitted guns. And, I've done previous videos on is it safe to drop the slide on empty chamber. And obviously it's not good for the gun. If you're going to do a function test, like as a gunsmith, you even have to do it to make sure there's no hammer follow. But as a, over and over and over again, if you drop the slide on an empty chamber, you can, the hammer, the sear nose hammer hook interface, that can cause chipping. Also barrel fitment, the legs and how the barrels fit, that can cause stress on that as well. And the thing is, the barrel fitment issue is not just a 1911 issue. If you have a higher end or nicely fit aftermarket barrel on, say, a Glock or a modern striker gun, dropping that slide on that barrel may not be the best practice. So, but it's not nearly as detrimental as it could be on a 1911. So I'm a big believer in, if you're going to do magazine work, go ahead and use the snap cap. There are various kinds of snap caps out there. It's not really, you just make sure that you use some common sense, and you understand what you're dealing with. Obviously, these snap caps, they have bright orange fake bullets and nickel plated cases. They're pretty fancy. So but it's, when you're dealing with snap caps, you got to be careful because you don't want to actually have put real ammo into the gun or get into a bad habit. And the other issue is, let's put this down. There's a product out there that I used to be a fan of, and over time I kind of realized I'm not really a fan of it anymore. So these are little inserts. These are TRT. These are called TRT's 3-pack, a TRT. These come from the Rogers Training School, and what these do is they come in a 9 and 40 sized follower insert, and then there's a 45. So what you do is you take these, depending on the caliber, you insert these into your empty magazine. It depresses the follower, so now you can put these into your magazine and you don't have to worry about the slide stop being activated. So if you want to do reloads, well, you're still functionally dropping the slide on an empty chamber if you use these little follower things. So I personally, we have some. They're basically retired. I don't feel like the juice is worth the squeeze long term on a on dry fire. Quick summation: yes, it's okay to dry fire your 1911 as long as you adhere to some basic rules. And I guess I'll go ahead and I will exit with this caveat to kind of explain why this is. Ideally, you're probably dry firing a lot more than you're shooting. 10 to 1, 20 to 1. The best shooters in the world are prolific dry firers. They are prolific dry firers. The skills you develop at home in dry fire, you test them and rate them on the live range. So, you know, that's why, you know, while I don't worry about dropping a slide on an empty chamber once in a while or things happen, it shouldn't break the gun. If I'm going to do dry fire 10 to 1 or 20 to 1 to the rounds that I'm shooting, I don't want to be beating the crap out of all those fitted parts on my gun. So, you know, so the answer is yes, but with dry fire on a 1911. Hope this helps.